Marvelous Jarvis, longtime sparring partner of Errol Spence Jr., says that Errol Spence Jr. almost knocked me out in sparring, and it took him 2 rounds to recover from the punch that Errol Spence Jr. threw at him. Let's talk about it in this video. King Jr. got another video for y'all. So we got some interesting more boxing news for y'all. As the champion, unified champion at 147, Errol the True Spence Jr. has been training hard. We know that Errol Spence Jr. has been out due to an eye injury that he had. He was going to face Manny Pacquiao August 21st until that eye injury happened. So Errol Spence Jr. fought Danny Garcia in 2020. So he's been out the ring for 2 years. And now Errol Spence Jr. has been getting some hype in the gym. I'm not going to say overhype, but some hype in the gym from guys that he recently trained with and sparred. And they say, look, Errol Spence Jr. seems to be fine, and he's looking to be back 100%, almost back to 100%. Not close, maybe like 96, 97%, but almost to 100%. And we know Errol Spence Jr. been training hard. A lot of people is doubting that Errol Spence Jr. is not going to beat Ugas Ugas. You got guys like AKA Timothy Bradley says that the car effect, the car accident and the eye injury is going to play a factor in Ugas Ugas' hands to get the win. Well, this ain't the case. We have some interesting news from Errol Spence Jr., longtime sparring partner ever since Errol Spence Jr. was a teenager at 16 years of age. This guy, Marvelous Jarvis, usually help Errol Spence Jr. train and stuff like that. And he stated that Errol Spence Jr., he was sparring with Errol Spence Jr. At first, and then Errol Spence Jr. looked like his power, he was fast. Like he said he was fast, but he didn't feel no pop on Errol Spence Jr. punches. And it kind of got the fans worried a little bit. But he also stated this. He says that when Errol Spence Jr. hit me once again, his power was even harder than it ever been before. He says like 97%. And he said he couldn't recover from the punch that Errol Spence Jr. threw for 2 rounds. And he also stated that he won't be back in Errol Spence Jr. camp for a very long time after that punch. So that ought to tell you something, that Errol Spence Jr. is really training hard. He's trying to make himself battle damage ready for what Ugas Ugas has to throw at him. We know Ugas Ugas is not the biggest puncher in the world, but Ugas Ugas has the highest boxing ability, the highest ring IQ, and he has that Cuban style of boxing school lesson. They eat, sleep, and breathe boxing more than what Canelo Alvarez would do. But to show you guys that Marvelous Jarvis said this on a video, I'm going to play this clip of Marvelous Jarvis describing Errol Spence Jr.'s power and how he couldn't recover. I'm gonna let him explain in this video.
Just a little update. His eye doesn't seem to be a problem at all. I think he recovered fully 100%. A few weeks back, or whatever, a month ago maybe, his speed was a little better than it had ever been since I've been sparring him. I've been sparring him since he was like 16, 17. His speed was faster than at any point of his time, his career. His speed has gotten there. And his ring IQ has went up, but I felt like his power wasn't all the way there. Well, today, we got a chance to get in the ring. His power was stronger than it had ever been. His power was there.
There you have it, guys. Marvelous Jarvis describing how Errol Spence Jr. power has risen and his speed was there Like he said, a few months back, his speed was there, but the power wasn't there. I didn't know if Errol Spence Jr. was trying to knock off some rust in the gym, getting back to training hard like he usually do. Usually when you take a few months off or a long layoff like Errol Spence Jr. has had, obviously you're going to lose some of your abilities. But like Jarvis says, his power has gotten even better. And I think Errol Spence Jr. Is going to be a problem for Ugas Ugas. I think he's going to be in Ugas Ugas' chest all night long. And Errol Spence Jr. is looking to bring bad news to Ugas Ugas. Now, if Ugas Ugas can stay, use that boxing ability, show Errol Spence Jr., hey, you're not just going to walk me down all night, show him that I got respectable power, but I ain't got crazy punching power. And he could try to keep Errol Spence Jr. off, but I don't think a lot of people say that Ugas Ugas is not going to keep him off. I agree with a lot of people. I don't think Ugas Ugas power is not going to be enough to keep Errol Spence Jr. off him, because Errol Spence Jr. is a beautiful body puncher. He's going to break you down from the body either way it goes. And I think Errol Spence Jr. might stop Ugas Ugas maybe in the 9th or 10th round. It's just my prediction. I could be wrong, but you guys heard what Jarvis says. The thing that stuck out to me was the power of Errol Spence Jr. So be expecting Errol Spence Jr. to do some damage to Ugas Ugas, or either knock him out or even stopping him. With that being said, guys, it is what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This is your boy King Jr. I'm out of here. Peace.